Joining us right now is Congressman Sean Duffy. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for weighing in this morning.
Hey, good to see you, Maria. Thanks for having me on.
So that thank you tour seems to be resonating. Which message do you think will resonate best with Americans during this thank you tour? What I was noticing last night was it's not a lot of substance. It's him talking about, relaying election night and sort of getting everybody pumped up. But I guess this is not the place to tell us what you're going to do after January 20th.
Well, I was just at the one a couple days ago in Wisconsin, and I think you're right. The people that are there love to hear him retell the story of the election and all the naysayers and how he wasn't going to win and how he actually came out with their support and brought the country victory. I think people appreciate that he's actually going to their home states and saying thank you to the voters that worked hard for him and cast their ballots for him. But he's also doing something else that's unique is he's going around the media and he's talking directly to the American people because, as you know, so many of the networks are covering these speeches live. And he's able to continue to tell his story about what he's going to do to make America great. He's talking about, as you just aired, he's talking about the economy and jobs and ISIS in Wisconsin. He was talking about the wall, making sure we secure our southern border. And he's having fun with it. I think Americans want to see that fun, energetic Donald Trump, which they get to see in the thank you tour, which is pretty cool.
So I've been testing all of the different thank you tour messages he's been doing. Wisconsin was a particular favorite among voters with his Merry Christmas message. The big Christmas tree is behind him. Yeah. People absolutely loved it. But the line of the night, people get so excited, including Democrats, when he said, let's buy American and hire American. I think that's so much of what's resonating right now, the jobs, America first message that he's got. So tell me what you're most excited about come January 20th.
Well, I'm excited about repealing and replacing Obamacare. I'm excited about securing the border. I'm excited about tax reform. Making sure we get tax reform right to make America competitive again will be so important. But you mentioned Buy American. It's going to be unique to see Democrats play this out with Donald Trump because they say they love to buy American and they love American products. But as we all know, they don't like American oil. They don't like American coal or American iron to make American steel. These are all great American products that provide American jobs, and they're the ones who keep saying no to these sectors of our economy that I think Donald Trump is going to open up and help expand and blow out our economic growth in the next several years.
Congressman, this is Don Peebles. Good morning. I've got a question for you. How do you bring the minority party into the discussion? You know, what has happened, and this has been going on in the Congress, especially in the House, for decades, this divisiveness, and it escalated in terms of partisan divisiveness under the 8 years of Obama. So how can we get our country back to a way where the parties can work together in the House? Because, look, Democrats have good ideas sometimes, bad ideas sometimes. Same thing goes for Republicans. But as Americans, we all should put our country first. So how is your party going to go about turning this around and changing the environment from what it is right now?
That is a really great question because I think Republicans saw what it felt like in 2009 and 2010 when Democrats controlled the House. They had 60 votes in the Senate and they had the White House, and they basically didn't listen to Republicans at all. But they also gave you the stimulus bill, they gave you Dodd-Frank and Obamacare. If Republicans are going to be successful, they're going to have to bring Democrats in, and Democrats are going to have some say. When we talk about health care, they're going to have some say in health care reform that takes place in the replacement for Obamacare. They have to have buy-in to the reform that's going to take place, whether it's going to be on what do we do on the border, what do we do on Dodd-Frank, what do we do with ISIS. They have to be empowered to have some fingerprints on the legislation that comes through the House and the Senate, so they have buy-in to what we're doing. Now, do they get to control everything? Not at all. But they do have to have some say, and that starts with us saying, let's sit at the table, let's negotiate, let's talk together, let's find those points of agreement, and then we can talk about the points of disagreement, and we can compromise on a few issues here and there. But if we do that, and we truly, with an honest heart, come to Democrats and try to get their buy-in on these reform policies, I think they're willing to come with us. Claire McCaskill on Obamacare.
Yeah, and we know.
She came out and said Democrats are going to, what's that?
We know that the administration has extended the deadline for registration of Obamacare, citing this late rush.
Yeah.
The HHS yesterday said in a statement, our goal is to provide affordable coverage to everyone seeking it before the deadline. And these additional days will give consumers an opportunity to come back and complete their enrollment for January 1st coverage. So what does that mean for the future of this legislation? We know that premiums are expected to go up much higher, on average 25% higher next year.
Well, so Maria, if there's 1 million people, or if there's just 50,000 people who are late at signing up and there's a 4-day extension, I'm actually okay with that. But for Democrats to say that there's so much interest in this law right now and people are funneling in, they're afraid that Republicans are going to take it away, this is a great law, let's keep it on the books. I think November's election would tell a different story. Americans hate this law. You've seen premiums increase, as you've covered, and choices diminish. And you ask Hillary Clinton what she thinks about Obamacare. Ask Russ Feingold in Wisconsin what they think of Obamacare. It absolutely destroyed their campaigns.
Yeah.
And Maria, they did the same extension last year, saying there was so much interest in Obamacare, we need to extend the deadlines. A year ago, they did that same thing. And in the end, Americans still feel the same way about this horrible law.
That's because
so
it's
I don't
so
think
expensive.
that this really has any impact. This is messaging that comes from the White House as opposed to any new love and affection for the Affordable Care Act, which is not affordable.
I would have liked to ask Christine Pelosi about it, by the way, but it was impossible to get a word in edgewise. Congressman, it's good to see you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, guys, have a good morning.
We'll see you soon. Congressman Sean Duffy.